Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to the next episode of URU Complete Chronicles. Last time out, we were working our way through this room in here, which might be the top of an important building, because I was looking out of this, and that's the thing that has the path halfway through it, right? And those are the stairs leading down. So this might be the top of building number 6. Like, we're probably somewhere up here, somewhere like that, looking down at this. That's what I'm thinking anyway. I hope you're all having a great day. In the chat, we have got Spiper, good day to you, and we have Dark Fae, good time zone to you as well. Last time out, we were reading all of these audiobooks, and we have one more book in this room to finish, and then we're going to be working our way back to building number 8, the library, where we have some more books to read, and I think that will be the entire history of all the kings of Danae. We also have Zephyronicus in the chat. Happy relative time of day to you as well. Morning here, but I think probably slightly later in the day for you. And we have Dark Flow still just passing by. Thank you very much, Dark Flow. I hope you have a great day. Okay, without further ado, we're reading King Kirth. Now this is very much right at the end of... Kirth was the last king, in fact. So this is the end of the timeline as we know it. Oh, we've got to wear the ears. Okay. Oh, do you know what? We've not worn the ears in a while. I'm going to have to quickly give these a quick dust off, because sitting in front of my computer. So, well, they sit on top of my computer, and obviously all the fans suck everything through. But here we go. Get the ears on. All right. We've not had a redeem for Wear the Ears for a long old time. Hope you have a great rest of the day, Darkflow. 4 a.m. for Zephyronicus. Oof, that is commitment. Commitment to the bit. 4 a.m. on a Wednesday for you, I guess it will be. Okay. Well, unless you're in San Fran. Would it be 4 a.m. in San Fran? It might be. Yeah, probably about that. So yeah, not Australia, probably more like West Coast. 11 p.m. for Dark Fae. Gonna regret this at work tomorrow. Oh dear. We'll be back on a more sensible time zone fairly soon, hopefully, probably. We'll see. So my time schedule is changing again in January, and then I will be probably, I don't know, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in January, because my timings are all going to change again. Okay. King Kirth. King Kirth took the throne in 6731 at the age of 54. Kirth is probably the most well-known name of all the kings, not because he was necessarily considered the best, but because he was the last. His name came to represent all the kings in later years, including the renaming of the Arch of Kings to the Arch of Kirth. His mother had raised him to follow the teachings of Gish, and by the time he took the throne, he was believed to be a wholehearted believer in the followers. Because of that, and the experience of watching his father interact with his advisors, Kirth had decided from an early age that a king was no longer the correct way that Danae should be led. At least, he argued, not until the true great king would come. The fact that Kirth, in a single reign, was able to convince his people that the way they had been ruled for thousands of years was wrong and should be changed, should be considered nothing short of miraculous. Kirth carefully crafted his arguments as a benefit for the guilds more than anything else. After all, he argued, Danae is the guilds, let us be protected by their fortress and be ruled by their wisdom. It was hard for the guilds not to support a proposal that removed the king from the highest authority and replaced him with 5 lords, lords that would be automatically chosen from the Grand Masters of the guilds. It gave all the power of Dni to the guilds, and there were only a few Grand Masters who seemed to disagree. Those few were known as faithful followers of the Great King and Rinaref, who had always supported the role of kings. Fortunately for Kirth, though his people believed a variety of different philosophical ideologies, only those who faithfully followed the original teachings of Rinaref and the Great King were disturbed at the thought of no king. And it was the majority of Dni who no longer followed those beliefs, but instead those of Nemia, Gish, the Watcher, and various others. As a result, it was a cultural impact that the public had to overcome, and not a religious one. Kirth, attempting to further please the guilds, recommended new renovations and additions to the council chamber and construction of a new guild hall, meant to celebrate the new power that would be theirs. A symbol of the new power of the guilds and lords, and further insult to the Great King, burying his memory even further under government construction. Construction began in 6970 on the new guild hall. There was no better symbol of the attitude of the Dni in 6770. There was no better symbol of the attitude of the Dni in 6970. The tomb of the Great King was further buried under massive buildings dedicated to government and the guilds. By the end of his reign, Kirth had convinced a majority of Dni of his own beliefs. Most claimed to be followers of Gish and his writings, and most viewed the outsiders as a threat. If not now, then soon, Kirth often said. After his death, Kirth's words would be proven true with the onset of the Me-Dis War. Outside factions invaded with attempts to destroy the ink-making and book-making guilds, and almost succeeded. By the time the war would end, there would be few left who did not follow Gish and thus believe in the end of most outsider involvement. The discovery that the conservative factions had led to the start of the Me-Dis War would come much later, when it was far too late to alter the conservative trends. Regardless, in 6977, Kirth abdicated the throne and gave over the power of the kings to the first 5 lords of Dni history. They were Lord Terry of the Guild of Messengers, Lord Hemelar of the Guild of Healers, Lord Moleth of the Guild of Caterers, Lord Kedri of the Guild of Writers, and Lord Korinen of the Guild of Analysts. Kirth died 8 years later. The time of the kings was over. Well, there we go. That is the end of the Kings of Dni, and the end of this room for us as well. So we're now going to head back to the library, where we have some more books to read. Now let me think. The library. Yeah, probably go from here. Interesting fellow, Kirth. Go, library courtyard, let's go. I'm assuming the zeros are very, very ambitious counters of how many players are currently in that location, perhaps. Okay, where have we ended up here? Right, here we go. Oh, it's the ID system. Right. Was it down here? Yes. Here we are. We've got some books over here. I think there was not anything round these sides, right? I'm going to go down there in just a minute. No, it doesn't look like we have anything here. Yeah, of course, the number 5 also being, you know, an important motif. The 5 lords of the 5 major guilds. It all sort of fits, doesn't it? Right, we have Memon Story next. Now, I think we've read... Yes, okay, we've read Memon's book, but this is Memon's Story. These have one of the extra journeys in online. Okay. Those books have the linking panel somewhere in the middle rather than on the first page. Oh. The story of Memon, taken from Book 210. Translation Nick. First draft. And a dark sickness spread through the city, and sores broke out on the skin of those who the sickness touched. Might be better translated infected, but touched fits with the literary style. And some began to die. The sickness came from Yeesha, where the large trees grew and where the woods of Yarmen were harvested. As it was there was great fear in the houses of all those who lived with Yarmen close to them, and so great fear spread through the king's household, and through all those who worked in the halls of the guilds and those who looked over the city. Such fear overcame the minds of reason, and many began to flee the city and run to the other places that were available to them. But King Memon was angry at those who ran and was himself unafraid, literally not of fear. And so he called for the healer, Grand Master Shemef, to come to his room, and though Shemef was preparing to flee, he obeyed his king and came to him quickly. Grand Master Shemef, the king asked his healer, have you not read the histories of our people? Have you not been instructed in the ways of those who led your guild in the generations before you? Are you not aware of the plague that this place has already seen? My king, it is for these reasons that I am prepared to flee, for I know those who died and those who were unable to prevent it from taking hold of them. I know of this plague in detail. And the king answered, Depart. I have no time for you, Shemef. Depart to your own age, and do not return to this place again. May it be that my eyes never look upon your face again. And Shemef departed from King Memon, and he never saw him again. And King Memon called for Guildmaster Anem of the Guild of Healers, and though Anem was preparing to flee, he obeyed his king, and came to him quickly. Guildmaster Anem, the king asked his healer, have you too not read the histories of our people? Have you not heard the ways of those who led your guild 3,000 years ago? My king, of course, it is for these reasons that I know what may happen to our people. It is for that reason that we must protect ourselves first, so that we may protect those who trust us for protection. It is not how I would have thought. Depart with your master, and may I never see you again, King Memon ordered. And King Memon called for Grand Master Raman of the Guild of Healers, and though Raman was preparing to flee, he obeyed his king and came to him quickly. Guildmaster Raman, the king asked his healer, tell me that you have read the histories of our people and been instructed in the ways of your guild. Tell me you have heard of the destruction of the sickness that overcame our people 3,000 years ago. Of course, my king. It is for these reasons that we must bring the ancient books to another age, so that we may study our records and learn in the ways that we must fight. But to stay here would be suicide. It is as I would have thought. Depart with your master, and may you never see the light of the lake again, King Memon ordered. And King Memon was greatly disturbed and troubled, and he stayed in his room for 4 nights. His servants brought food for him, but he refused to eat, and his servants brought advisers, but he refused to speak. And all of those around him became worried, even as more of the city became empty. And finally, King Memon called for Guild Captain Irem of the Guild of Healers, and Irem was studying in the guild, and he obeyed his king, and came to him quickly. "Guild Captain Irem," the king asked his healer, "tell me that you have read the histories of our people, and been instructed in the ways of your guild. Tell me that not all of Dani is running in fear of a sickness that can be defeated." "Of course, my king. It is for these reasons that I have not left my class since I first heard of the sickness appearing in the district where the trees appear. I understand that our father, the honoured Grand Master GZM, worked for 6 years even after the Book of Bereni was found. He worked day and night, and stood by our people as he sought to save them from the sickness that had even infected our king. It is for these reasons that I will not leave this place until this sickness is no longer in our city. Tell me whatever you need, and it will be yours. You are most honoured in this palace today, and Dani will be saved because of you." And King Memon was filled with joy, and he ate from the food his servants brought him, and spoke with the advisers who came to speak. As it was, Irem spent day and night without sleeping for 4 more days, and on the 5th day, the cure was found, and the sickness was deadly no longer. On the 5th day. Very good. And King Memon gave the Guild of Healers to Irem, and he was known as Grand Master from that day forward. Shemeth, Anem, and Raman were restricted from the Guild of Healers, and never again allowed inside of it, or of the palace, or of any of the king's dwellings and structures. And King Memon ordered the surveying of a new section of the city to be called Neweril, and this section was to be away from the city, so that any sickness brought from the other worlds would not be brought to the heart of the city, but instead away from it, so that fear would not spread again. And he ordered that the story of the Grand Master Irem be taught to all of those who were instructed by the Guild of Healers from that day forward, so that no one would forget the power of Dani and the great strength of their medicines and learning. Seems a good place to stop. I filled in a few words that weren't sure about, but overall felt pretty good about this one. And you know what? You should feel pretty good about this one. That's a good translation. Now, I was saying this previously. Now, I don't know if canonically this book was written by the same chap, Nick, who wrote the book that we saw in Ida Kano, you know, the garden world that we went to. Because it's written in a very similar style and written very well. Like, I mean, I love these. I love the kind of pseudo-religious texts, you know. I think those are really great. You know it's bad when all your best healers are fleeing rather than working in the city. Well, is it an indication of how bad the plague is? Or is it an indication of the level of corruption that the guilds had at the time? Let me know in the comments section. What have we got next? Kedri's story. Oh, it's another Nick. It's another Nick book. Lovely. Right. The story of Kedri, taken from book 42b. Translation Nick. First draft. Kedri loved his people, and the people of Dani loved their king, for Kedri did well in the eyes of Yarvo and sought to serve those whom he led. In the 48th year of his reign, Kedri roamed the streets of Agura and was greatly disturbed. For even though all people, rich and poor, loved their king, Kedri saw that the entire island of Agura was filled with those who were prosperous and those who governed Dani. "Where are my people?" Kedri asked to those who walked with him. "All around you," they answered, pointing to the crowds that followed them. "Yet I do not see my people here. I see masters of the guild, and I see owners of our stores, But I do not see those who have no option to join our guild, or those who have built the stores. Where are my people on this island?" So the king called together his councillors and expressed his disappointments, and he ordered that a new place isn't right, but I'm having trouble with this word, not the usual district word either, although that might be a better translation, or home, be built on the island, and that the name of the place be Shamathen. He ordered that Shamathen be made available not to those who did possess the wealth and stature of the elite, but to those who were not so fortunate. Still, they were his people, and the area was built, and Kedri was joyful to see his people live in such a place. A short while later, after the area of Shamathan began to grow, Kedri was walking through the city, conversing with his people and telling them of his plans, and Kedri was led to the common library because he wanted to see the ages that he heard his people talk of. And again the king was disturbed, and he asked his advisers, "Where are the books that the great Denis have written?" "All around you," they answered, pointing to the rows of books that lined the shelves. "Yet I do not see the ages of our people here. I see ages that resemble failed school assignments for the students of writers. I see ages that not even those students would visit, much less a king. So I will ask again, where are the great ages of Denis?" So the king returned to his palace and ordered his councillors to bring his most prized book, The Age of the Kings, written during the reign of his grandfather, to the common library, so that the people of Denis might be able to see the skills of the great writers, even as he had seen them. And the people loved their king more than they had before. So the king called his advisers and ordered them to add to the great temple so that Yarvo might be pleased, and so all of Denis could visit their god. Really, it's a form of Yarvo again. I thought God made more sense, though. In this house, just as those with money, an inherited kind of money, were allowed to do. The king ordered them to add to the opera house so that all of Denis could hear the skills of song of the people, just as those with money, an earned kind of money, were allowed to do. The king ordered them to add to the district of Belari so that the area started by King Rakari might not fall into disrepair but be treated as all other areas of the city, and that all of Denis might live in prosperity, just as those with money, both earned and inherited, were allowed to do. And all people of Denis grew to love their king more than they had before. Some trouble spots here. Seems there are a few different kinds of money words. Might need help with those, as well as the whole place thing. The money thing is very interesting, actually, because it strongly implies to have two different kinds of money, an inherited kind of money and an earned kind of money, strongly implies a class structure that makes a distinction between what I would call, as an English person, the aristocracy versus the nouveau riche. Now, I don't really know if this is a concept that translates well internationally, but obviously the UK is kind of an interesting country in that we literally still have landed aristocrats who sit in the House of Lords and literally help govern the country, right? And these are inherited positions, not elected positions. So we definitely still in the UK have a strong sense of the difference between an aristocrat being someone who inherits their money and a member of the nouveau riche who might be a millionaire or even a billionaire, but they made their money through, a tech company or whatever, but they don't have land, they don't have power in the governmental sense, except through lobbying, obviously. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how well you guys will relate to that necessarily, because the vast majority of countries around the world, kind of got rid of all their aristocracy at one time or another. So, this is another Myrta story. Oh no, we had Memon before. Right, okay. Myrta story. It's another Nick. Okay. The story of Myrta, taken from book 28b. Translation Nick. First draft. In the time of Myrta, in the 196th year of his reign, Jalatha, his mother, came to him in his bedroom. Now it was well known throughout the city of Myrta and his craving for women. And none knew this weakness, a weakness of choice is more literal, more than his own mother. So it was that Jalatha brought with her the woman Ramel, who worshipped the tree. Ramel's beauty was well known in Dani, especially among those who worshipped the tree, and especially among the kings. Plural kings is here, although I don't know why. Maybe implied the whole king's palace or history, not sure. But as it was, though the king could have any object in Dani, Ramel had been held from him by his mother until now, and she offered her son Ramel in exchange for her own purposes. "But what are your purposes?" the king asked. "For do you think me so foolish as to give you anything you want for a mere woman?" "Of course not, my son, but as you know, you have watched Ramel from afar for many years. You have talked to your advisers and plotted the ways in which you could make her yours, but you have been unable even to look upon her so closely until this day. Until this day that I have brought her to you. So do not think I am so foolish as to believe that this woman is a mere woman." "You have spoken truthfully. In fact, as you gaze upon her now, I have never imagined her to be so beautiful. She is like a statue without flaw, but even so, do you think I would give you whatever you wish for even a woman such as this?" Now Jalatha was cunning, and Myrta was eager for Ramel. And every day Jalatha brought the woman into the king's bedroom, and every day she offered her son the woman Ramel in exchange for her own purposes. And as the nights passed, Myrta became unsatisfied with those who were already his. He became spiteful of those who came to his bedroom, for none compared to the woman Ramel, who his mother continued to withhold from him. And finally he could resist his mother's arguments no longer. And Jalatha came to his bedroom with the woman Ramel, and the king Myrta began to speak. "The woman has ruined my life. There is none like her in all my ages, and you bring her to this room night after night. Those who I have found beautiful have faded in comparison to this one, and I no longer find pleasure in them. Therefore I am no longer satisfied with anything, and I will not be satisfied until this woman is mine. What is it that you ask of me? Whatever it is, I will give. You have my word." Bro. Don't give your word before you find out what it is. "Very well, my son. I will talk to you tomorrow." And Jalatha gave the woman Ramel of the worshippers of the tree to her son, and Ramel was King Myrta's from that day forward. At dawn, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Ramel seems to have like no agency in this story whatsoever. At dawn of the next day, Jalatha came to Myrta while he was still sleeping and told him her purposes. "The Guild of Writers has long had their rules, their restrictions, and their ancient oaths. But you realize, my son, that these words are old now and no longer the ways of our people. Rinaref was responsible for them, and they are like a collar around our necks, growing ever tighter and preventing us from moving forward. It is time we are freed." Even Myrta was disturbed. "But there are none who would agree to this. The oath is as stone. It cannot be altered, for it has never been. And yet, not only do you ask me to change the oath, but contradict the things it says?" And Jalatha grew angry. "Are you so foolish? Do you think I ask you to carry out the impossible? There is but one thing that must be changed, one thing that will give us freedom. It is the Dani who have created the art as we know it, not Yarvo. Thus, since it is true, it is us who can determine the rules of the art, not the ancient religious writings. They will view it as blasphemy, the king responded, but I will do as you say. And so King Myrta spoke to the Guild of Writers. His words were well crafted, often from his mother, and his arguments strong, for they too Jalatha gave him. And his effort was great, for there was no other woman besides Ramel, and it was the woman that he lived for. However, though many in the Guild of Writers were easily convinced by the sharp words of the king, there was one who was not. Grandmaster Tremel was old in age and wise beyond even his years, and his decision was hard. The word is a certain kind of stone that was considered to be the most hard and immovable, and he would not be moved. Never will we change what Eilish has written in the oaths, never will we change what we have spoken for generations, never will we allow a crack to be opened in the great wall of our guild, for it is Terahi that you seek. But is Terahi not the reason we exist? For Tremel could see the plans of Jalatha even in the words of the king, and Tremel knew that if the ancient religious writings did not determine their fate, the hearts of men would rule, and there would be nothing to stop Jalatha from having her way. And so for 3 days Tremel stood to the words of the king. For 3 days the king would return to his palace and receive new words from his mother. For 3 days the anger of Jalatha burned against Tremel and grew stronger. And so it was that on the 4th day, when the king was no longer welcome to the guild, Grandmaster Tremel was found hanging from a tree, his body covered in blood. The king was sad when he heard the news, for he held no bitterness in his heart toward Tremel. But when Jalatha heard the news, she was overjoyed and ordered the king to the Guild of Writers to change the oath and carry out her own purposes. But as it was, the death of Tremel had breathed boldness into the guild, and in unison they denounced the wicked evil that had killed their Grand Master and vowed that the oaths of their guild would never be changed and that there would be no more discussions. So Jalatha devised other plans, for she knew that even she could not change such determined guildsmen. And King Myrta lived with Ramel, and he was satisfied with all those who visited his room again. Even as he was filled with pleasure, Jalatha plotted evil, and the city in which he lived grew weak. Probably ready for a Dr. Watson review. I would agree. Another good translation. Did Ramel get any dialogue? No. No. But you know, we shall forgive Nick that he is merely the translator. Okay, down into the basement. Some of these stories feel like they could have been operas. I really enjoy that style of writing, for sure. Oh, okay, this is interesting. There ain't nothing down... No, there is stuff down here. How do we get round here? Huh. Well... yeah. There's an invisible wall there, which I certainly can't get round. Why would it take us down here if there's nothing down here? So we've just finished reading the books in the library. We finished the books in the library. Well, no, we finished the books on the first floor of the library, just here. And now we are pondering where to go next. I mean, we could certainly jump it. No, there's an invisible wall there as well, which stops us jumping all the way down. I mean, we'd have to link out to Relto before we hit the ground, but we can't even do it anyway. Okay, well, this is the point where it's like, so is there a puzzle to solve? Question mark. My voice keeps cracking today. Do you know how it feels when you can just feel a cold starting to come on? Like, it's not a cold yet, but it's like your voice has started to become just a touch gravelly, and you're like, yeah, that's gonna hit me soon. Right, no getting around here. Oh, in terms of percent or hours. Oh, blimey. Well, this is episode 4 of To Denis, I think. You've got that illness right now, and it's not a nice one. Oh, dear. Well, here's the thing, right? When you've got 2 kids, it's like, it doesn't matter how good your immune system is if you're not also very skilled at avoiding having a toddler cough straight in your face. So... she's just about getting old enough now to understand that she needs to put her hand in front of her mouth when she coughs. But sometimes she forgets, and you literally just get like wind straight in your face. Okay, Darkface says you're pretty sure that is the library for now. Oh, well, that's interesting. There is a puzzle. I was near it 3 weeks ago. Here's the thing. I don't even remember seeing any puzzles in To Denis yet. Just rooms and reading. Hey, we've got Nauseum in the chat. Hype. Good to see you. Happy Tuesday. Okay, no. The cones are lore there. I'm trying to remember where I was 3 weeks ago. I mean, we've got the... Well, this path, of course, takes us down there, and we sort of end up back there via a circuitous route. Have we been down there? We probably have, but not for a while. Let me think. 3 weeks ago, we were in the palace. Palace? Yes, we were in the palace reading the books. Right. Ooh, have we been down there? That looks like an interesting spot to go. You were learning about Bobagubu. Oh, right, in the main part of Denis. Okay, so we've got the Hall of Books, read all these, only 2 exits here. We've touched that previously already. Might actually be easier to not walk. Gotta be lurking. Fair enough, Nauseum. Please do, have a lurk. Have a lurk. We love all of our lurkers on this channel. Yes. We always have, you know, a handful of lurkers, about, you know, 4 or 5, 6, 7, something like that, people who are consistently coming and lurking, and it's really appreciated that you guys come and watch, even if you're not chatting. I appreciate you guys anyway. I appreciate you guys still. Right, so that's not a building we can go in. This isn't a building we can go. Oh! No, we have been in this building. Pretty sure. Yes. Yes, we've been in here. I think. Yeah, no. No. We definitely have. We definitely have. Okay, again, can't get past this. Yeah, we've touched that before. Grabbed a screenshot of it too. Yeah, I might need a steer. I might need a steer on where we're supposed to be going to find the next part of the game. Because otherwise we're just going to be going back and visiting all the areas we've previously visited. Because in honesty, I thought the library was going to be where the next part of the game was. I thought, oh yeah, there's a big old spiral staircase down this thing. Like, that's clearly where we're supposed to be. Like, we can get back to the dock this way. There's also a little bar down there. Or we could go around this side. I mean, I suppose we're probably trying to get to that building. I mean, well, I guess it would probably make sense if eventually we're trying to get to the Tomb of the Great King. Like, everyone's been talking about it. Nexus Kirel. Okay. Yeah, the tomb that was built over, because everyone keeps talking about how important it was. So you've got, like, the Great King, and then he created his tomb, and then the tomb then housed all of the plague books, and then it got opened and re-released the plague, and then it got sealed again, and then it got built over, and then sort of forgotten about. Like, they always talk about it. Yeah, the deadly killer plagues. That's got to factor into the story somewhere, right? Mind you, on the other hand, this is a bit like... this actually reminds me a touch of, like, reading the Silmarillion. And it's like, is any of this stuff important? And it's like, well, it's important to the history of the world. But does it really factor into the main plot of the book? A tip that a friend gave me once for reading the Silmarillion is don't treat it like a work of fiction. Like, treat it like an actual religious text that someone has given you and you're trying to, like, understand an actual history of things that happened. And if you go into it with that mindset, it is apparently a lot more readable, because you can get a lot more sort of invested in, well, why is this kind of inconsequential bit of lore being, you know, dwelt on? Yeah, I mean, it's a hard read. It's a hard read. Like, I would... yeah, I've never managed to get through the whole thing, to be honest. Like, it's...
Hello? Test?
Okay, yep, no, we've listened to this. We've listened to this at least twice before.
Okay.
So, what is here now that wasn't here before? It's writer's notes. Interesting to learn, but good to remember he didn't actually release or endorse it. Yes, that is a good thing to bear in mind, isn't it? Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, yeah. So we went there, didn't we? These are all different locations? Of course, we have like 4 other locations to go and check out. Like, how do we forget about that? Well, no, I know how we forgot about that. It's because the last time we were in that room was like a month ago. No, wait. This is just here. We've been here before. Okay. Yeah, that's not where I wanted to go. Right, back we go. Oh, well, this is going to take us back here. So are all 5 of those locations going to be taking us to the same general area? Well, we're going to try them all out anyway. Yep, this way. Which way was it? This way, probably. This'll do. This way will do. Okay, so done that one. We've done that one. Number 3. Does that look familiar? It doesn't really look familiar. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, as I've said before, and I think it's worth reiterating. Nope, we've been back here. This is the library again. Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth reiterating. I do remind everyone. Oh, look, it's got stained glass windows. We didn't see those before. I think it's worth reminding everyone. URU is a very unusual game. It's a very, very unusual game in that it's not really... It was never really intended to be designed to be played single player. So the usual rules about hints and spoilers and nudges and so on are relaxed. They are more relaxed. So, do you want me... Yes, yeah, feel free to save me a little bit of time. Feel free to save me a little bit of time here. If it's not any of these tablets that I'm going to. One of those slates is not like the others. But yeah, I mean, URU is more like we are experiencing the playthrough together, you know, and some of you guys are URU veterans and you guys are so helpful and so interesting with all of the lore explanations that you have, and some of you I'm sure are watching the game for the first time, which is great, and we're sort of experiencing it for the first time together. So it's not that one, that's the corridor. I know that, I recognise that one. Oh! Yeah, that does look quite different, doesn't it? Better slate than never. Oh, we've got another book! Excellent. Well, you know where we're going to start. You got to read the instructions. Oh, the Great Zero. Draft copy 1.04 DRC. Welcome to the Great Zero. You'll notice a number of different areas to the Great Zero structure, as well as a number of various machines. We apologise for the great detail, but the structure and related mechanisms and systems are somewhat complicated. Antechamber. You are currently standing in the Great Zero antechamber. Though you can see the Great Zero machinery through the small window, access to the Great Zero courtyard is not available directly from the antechamber. In order to access the plaza, you will need to upload 5 Great Zero markers, GZMs. That sounds perilously close to a Stargate reference, but I don't think it's quite the correct year. Welcome to the non-lore part of the DLC. Oh, excellent. So we need some ZPMs into the Great Zero system and link into the plaza via your nexus. Okay. Great Zero marker uploads. Great Zero markers found in numerous locations throughout the cavern are fairly easy to find, and by following a few easy steps, simple to upload into the system. Once you have a key version 2.0 or higher, which you have if you've linked here by way of the nexus, you still need to upgrade your key to retrieve marker coordinates. That can be done easily by placing your key into the upload machine in this room. The first time a key is inserted, the system will enable your key to retrieve markers. If you see 5 faint coloured lights on your key, then you have properly enabled your key to retrieve markers. 2. Find GZMs. They are located throughout the cavern in a variety of locations. Please note that markers can be in a large variety of places, not just the more common paths. However, be aware that these markers will not be visible unless they sense an upgraded key within 25 feet. That is approximately 8 meters in international units. Before the point they are visible to the naked eye, as long as there is an unobstructed view, the small light on your key will also begin to flash as an indicator. Once you see the GZM, you will need to touch it. You will know the GZM has been registered if one of the faint lights turns solid. Once you have found 5 GZMs and have 5 solid lights on your key, you will need to return here to the antechamber and upload your GZMs into the system. You can use the same machine you used to initiate your key to do that. Great Zero Courtyard. Once you have uploaded 5 GZMs, you will find a new link in your nexus. That link will take you to the Great Zero Courtyard, the central location of the Great Zero neutrino dispenser. Well, that's interesting, because as a physicist, I know the kinds of things that spit out neutrinos, and the kinds of things that generally spit out a lot of neutrinos are also the kind of things that you don't want to get particularly near, because they tend to be spitting out a lot of other things as well. You will see another upload machine inside of the courtyard, as well as a couple of doors towards the back of the room. Great Zero Calibration Center access. Everything about keys and markers. This is all Denis technology, yes? Not DRC technology. Yes, this will all be Denis technology. Yeah. The calibration center located beyond the courtyard cannot be accessed unless a key has registered more GZMs, more than the 5 that are needed to access the courtyard. Registering is done the same way as listed above. You'll have a new set of faint lights. As GZMs are found, they will turn solid again. Once the second set of GZMs have been uploaded in either the courtyard or the antechamber. So GZMs are basically taking the role of journey cloths in this DLC, it kind of seems. The doors leading to the calibration chamber will automatically open from you for that point forward, and then you're in the calibration center. Most important to the calibration center are the 4 Great Zero maintenance units, the GZMUs. Beyond the back, as well as the calibration imager, the CI. Once you've uploaded 20 GZ markers into upload machines... Now, why are we now calling them GZ markers? Why are we not calling them GZMs? Right, that's you know, keep it consistent, guys. Once you've uploaded 20 GZMs in upload machines in either the antechamber or the courtyard, you'll be allowed access to the machines and the ability to find a new type of marker known as a calibration Great Zero marker, a GZZ, a CGZM. Once you have reached the Great Zero calibration center, your key only needs to finish the calibration process by synchronizing calibrations with the Great Zero itself. There are 4 machines to enable you to carry out the final task. You will need to receive a coordinate from one of the 3 machines, the 4th is not yet available, and find the single marker at that coordinate. Similar to the early markers, it will only become visible when you have entered a certain radius, and you'll have to touch it. After you've found the first one, you will need to return to the calibration center and insert your key into one of the machines. At that time, you'll be able to read one of the 3 coordinates on your key. After the second, you'll be able to read 2. After the third, you'll be able to read 3. At that point, the 4th will become available. After you've found the 4th marker, your key will be calibrated. If the Great Zero has not been turned on, it will also be turned on. And you're finished. Congratulations. We at the DRC hope that this document has provided you a better understanding of the key and Great Zero functionality. It has not, because it's not explained what the Great Zero even does. And when it says you're finished, finished with what? We also hope you realise how vital your success is to help calibrate our Great Zero. We appreciate your support greatly. Is this too mushy? Might be a little over the top. Again, thank you for visiting the Great Zero. We appreciate your patience and support. Okay, so we are going to calibrate the Great Zero. The GZMs, right, go and they are calibration markers. Fine. Well, first thing, let's go and upgrade our key, and then we need to go and find some number of markers. 5. Okay. And those are going to be around and about the place. Right. So those are our little markers now. Oh. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And when we're in range, it's going to start flashing. Wait, I am definitely within 8 meters of that. Okay, well, anyway, we got one, and we got a solid colour now. So that's nice. This is still flashing, as if there's one nearby. Maybe it's slightly outside this room. Hang on, let me reread that part of the text again. There were a lot of instructions in there. Found in numerous locations. Once you've got key version 2, 5 faint colour lights on your key, you've properly enabled. Fine. Before the point's visible to the naked eye, a small light on your key will begin to flash as an indicator. Right, okay. So it indicates that one is close, but it's kind of hard to say, like, how close. Or what direction. Okay, let's try it out. So, we're going to go back to Relto. Welcome to the puzzle. Yes, 25 feet, not correct in the book. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you've got to give the... I suppose you've kind of got to give the guys the... Well, maybe they got it wrong when they were writing it, right? What's it called? Unreliable narrator. Now, the thing is, these could be anywhere in Dene, right? So, let's start with Kirel. And we'll just have a wander around. We'll have a wander around Kirel first, and then we'll have a wander around like the Library Palace and so forth. Oh yeah, translation error. That actually makes a lot more sense. Right, bring up my key. Okay, it's flashing. Does it flash faster as you get closer? Hard to say. Oh, hang on. It went red just here. Or maybe it's just the other... Oh! Here it is. Nice. And that would be that one, right? Yes. Cool. Right. Yes, we'll keep our key on screen for this part of the DLC. Oh, you're going to keep a checklist for us. Thank you, Dark Fae. That's going to be well helpful. So, here's a question. Like, what? There's 25... GZMs in total. Is it required to find all of them? Is that what we're letting ourselves in for here? So it kind of flashes red with a pretty decent range to the thing still. Oh, yeah. In here. Keep it up. Very good. It's got to be here somewhere, right? There are more than 25. Okay, that's good. You got to get quite close to them, don't you? Right, there we go. There's a second one. I would definitely put one down there if I were the level designer. Now, I've not been along this path yet. So... Now, I'm kind of assuming if you clear... Oh, yeah. I'm kind of assuming if you clear an entire level of these GZMs, that this white flashing just stops flashing entirely. Nope. Okay, definitely down here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Got it. Okay. Now, where else have we not walked yet? Well, we could definitely go... Oh, really? It just... it does keep flashing even if you've cleared the area. Okay, so it's not like it's white when there's one fairly close and red when it's very close. It's like... Yeah, okay. Cool. Well, that's alright. So let's go back to this area and we'll see how many we can find. Okay, well apparently one very close straight away. No. Oh, is it up there? Nice. Okay. Well, that's the 5 we need to get into the courtyard. So shall we go and check that out? So we go back to Kira. And we run this way. They seem a little different than the journey cloths, at least in terms of placement. Definitely having a tool that beeps at you when they're close by is going to be very, very helpful for us. Yeah, very helpful. Right, okay, we've got our 5. Right, find 5. Once you've found 5... You'll need to return here, upload your GZMs into the system, use the same machine. Once you've uploaded 5, you will find a new link in your Nexus. Okay. Great, let's do it. Stick your hand in the machine. Oh, look. Now it's all red and blue. So there we go. Is that what I need for the next bit then, is it? Calibration center, then the 5, right. Once you've uploaded 20, you'll be allowed access to the machines. Coordinates from one of the 3 machines. Okay. So once you've done 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right, okay. So the red is filled, and presumably the blue, that represents the total number of GZMs that you can find, I would presume. So let's get back out to our Relto. Oh yeah, this is flashing, and I doubt we're going to find any GZMs on Relto. So So from here, we can now get into the Great Zero Courtyard, which I think is ReZero. Oh yeah, that's something new. It looks like an astrolabe. Definitely something. That amount of stuff sparking around though. Oh, we have one around here nearby. And this book, that takes us back to our next one. Handy. And the doors will be back here, presumably. The doors that we're not going to be allowed to open just yet. That's a weirdly reflective door, isn't it? Well, the doors supposedly open automatically. Oh, it won't let us jump over that small body of water. Do you reckon that's electrified water? Because you definitely could just walk up that. Okay. I'm not sure there's much point going the other way either, but we'll check it out, right? Because we don't like to leave paths unexplored. There's obviously red up those stairs again, so we'll go back there and do our best to try and find that piece soon. You know, like whilst we're here. Yeah, okay, right. It's just another door and the thing's not turning red, so it doesn't matter. Highly toxic, considering what they've said this does. Could be. Could be. I mean, like, yeah, if it's our little neutrino source, then yeah, could be. Okay, nothing else in here. That's fine. Yeah, so wait, hang on. So there's the machine. There's the book to link out. What's that? Is it just an indicator on the floor that, like, don't stand here because people link in to there? Which is an incredibly good idea, right? A very, very good idea. Because, like, let's be real, these books are constantly linking you all over the place. They link you to a specific spot in an age. Now, we've seen in the Riven remake that it linking you somewhere has no regard at all for whether there's actually ground where you're linking to, and that's why Gen has built like raised platforms off the ground, because where you're linking to is now like 10 feet up in the air or whatever. I presume if you go and shift a box onto a spot where someone links, that is gonna stop people linking there, or they're gonna link into the box. Like, is that established what that does? Because these guys very, very confidently, except in that one last particular spot, don't give any indication that, hey, don't walk here, don't leave anything here, because people are linking to that spot. I don't know. Seems a little questionable. Okay. It's mildly concerning. You're not sure it ever comes up. I'm certain it must have been discussed on the Reddit. I might go onto the subreddit later and ask. Oh, no. We're not red anymore. No. Okay, no, we're red again now. Okay, that's interesting. Now we're not red. Right, that means there must be two in pretty close proximity to each other. Right, so we got that one. Now there's another red one outside here, must be. There it is. Great. Oh man, we're bossing this puzzle. Let's go. I kind of want to check out the bar, because the bar definitely seems like the kind of spot you'd hide one. Ah, I'm stuck. No! Ugh, there we go. Yeah. There's going to be one in here. Surely. Surely. Yep. There we go. It's beeping at us. Nice. We can assume the link adjusts for planet movement. And the islands of Riven drifting apart. Yes. The arrival point moves with the island. That is a very good point. The arrival point drifts with the island, but if the ground falls away from the arrival point... Oh, hey, look! Someone's moved this barrier. How mysterious, because that was not open earlier. Ghosts. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go ahead and call that a... You feel that may be why they changed things in the remake. What if Temple Island is static and everything moves outward from it? That's a good point. I mean, it still has to adjust for planetary movement, though. So... But then again, maybe that's why, like, the Great Zero and Prime Meridians are, like, so important to the Dene, is because, you know, maybe your linking points on Earth are based around, like, the center of mass of the Earth itself, rather than... Oh, shoot, you know what? I've just worked out what all the balconies are for. Nice. Where does this one take us? I don't really remember, but I want to do this somewhat methodically, so I'm not going to wander off to a different location right now. But yeah, okay, right. We're going to go check out some balconies later. Yeah, so maybe the planetary movement we can talk about. Okay, well, you know, it's based on from the center of mass of the Earth. Yes, maybe Temple, but even if Temple Island were static and all the islands were moving away, you can link to... Ah, well, in the original, you can link into any island from 233, right? In the remake, you're kind of going through the starry expanse, which isn't really a physical place in that regard. And the only way to 233 is from the actual Temple Island, so... Yeah, the remake, you only link in and out of Riven on Temple Island. Yeah, you're quite right. I'm trying to think whether we have other examples. Trying to think if we have other examples from other games, you know? Like linking onto a moving object, like linking onto a ship or linking onto a boat. Yeah, it's not really the kind of game where spaceships are a thing, to be honest, is it? I think that might be most of the docks covered there. Like, can't guarantee we haven't missed one, of course, but I think we managed to cover most of the footfall. Let me think. So in number 3... in number 3, on... What's Savidro's homeworld? Isn't that linking point at the top of a tree? Or something? I think all of the linking points on Jananin you'd be fine on. Wait, hang on, Idana. Idana, you link to Idana, that's like literally the top of a tree. Like that would move over time, for sure. This might not have anything. Fine. Yeah, both Spire and Haven's a cave. The return book on Tay places you on Jungle Island. It does. But the return book on Tay has been written very recently by Catherine. So maybe the islands aren't drifting fast enough for that to make a difference. Do you know what? Okay, right. Petition Cyan Worlds, the return book on Tay, rather than dropping you into the centre of the animal puzzle, should in fact drop you about 5 feet to one side to account for the drift of the island since the book was written. Like, Cyan, when are you gonna patch that? 0 out of 10, unplayable. Okay. That'd be funny. Yeah, Idana is the only example I can think of. Haven and Spire is fine. Teledan's on Earth anyway. If we assume that the Great Zero accounts for Teledan, accounts for Earth in some way, then, yeah. Spire was a floating island. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, was it geosynchronous? Impossible to say, really, isn't it? I mean, I'm kind of trying to think of examples of, if you were to assume that the ground wasn't moving, is there any age where the ground itself changes, or you know, like, or moves relative to the underlying area. I don't know. Okay. Nothing on this one. That's a bit odd, isn't it? Okay, I guess that one really is just for flavour. Yeah, I don't think anything from the original Myst is going to count at all. Ooh, do we reckon we have one in Kadish's little museum? I mean, that is on Denis. Go on, let's have a look. Ah, we actually get some music for once. So, as far as the Myst soundtracks goes, it is still Enter Tamana that has my #1 Spotify spot at the minute. I think Enter Tamana, which is obviously one of the Jack Wall ones, I think that's my favourite one from the series so far. Oh, I misclicked. I misclicked it. Well, we're making good progress with finding these, and you know what? It's actually not entirely an unpleasant gameplay. It's a pretty chill gameplay experience to just, you know, we'll just have a wander round, collect the things. It's nice that they beep at you when they're close by. I literally hear one beep in here somewhere. There it is. I was like, hang on. I can hear it in my thing. I'm like, hang on, wait a minute. It's coming from the left somewhere. It's like spinning around on the spot. I was fully... there is going to be one here. I was fully expecting it to be over here. There is one over there. Nice. URU. Not entirely unpleasant. Do you know what? When it actually comes to throwing a review for this game on Steam, I'm going to have a really hard time because, to be honest, I might just refrain from reviewing it at all because, to be honest, it's kind of a bit like, as far as Complete Chronicles goes, I don't think you could possibly recommend it to someone, right? Like, if you're going to play it, play Mula for sure. Like, this is obviously a very different experience because we are playing it together. But I think that's the alley, isn't it? That's the alley. Because look, you can see the book in that alcove. Imagine doing this in TeamSpeak or Skype, chilling with friends, working through this together. Eh. Okay, do we have one in this room? No. No, we do not. Fine. Back to Relto again. Oh yes, the old office. Speaking of games that I've just started, which I'm really thoroughly enjoying, and would recommend you check out, is Exographer, right? So it is a... Why is that? Huh? Why is my key turning yellow? Okay, I'm assuming there's going to be an explanation for that in the key book. Weird. Okay, that's going to have to be a mystery for another time. Bad lighting object. I don't know. Seems quite specific. Okay, that's going to have to be a mystery for another time. We found the keys that are in here. We found the GSMs. Anyway, we are going to be at the end of the stream. But before we go, I just want to talk a little bit about Exographer. So, we just did episode 1 this week. I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's a bit nostalgic for me because I went and studied physics at university, right? But it's a particle physics inspired, very, very strongly based on particle physics, puzzle game. It brands itself as a Metroidvania. I wouldn't say it's a Metroidvania. It's a Metroidvania, right? Without combat, right? It has puzzles instead of combat, but like you explicitly unlock abilities to go and like find new paths and things. So it's very much a Metroidvania, very strongly particle physics inspired. It's very educational as well, which I kind of like. So yeah, I mean, check that out. Like it's kind of an interesting game. That's what I've been enjoying this week. All right, the story gameplay is tolerable. Love the sense of community. The expansion to the Denis backstory is thought-provoking as well. Do you know what? We've read a lot of lore over the last few weeks. I've really enjoyed, actually, spending time with you guys reading all the lore. Okie dokie. If you're on YouTube in the future, thank you very much for watching this week's episode of URU to Denis. Next time out, we're going to be trying to find, well, the second half of the GSMs that we're looking for. Although we only need 4 more, I think, to open that door. So maybe we'll get that reasonably swiftly. Do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Okay, for those of us on Twitch, if you have a streamer that you would recommend we go and raid, now is the time.